What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Awesemo.com, filling in for Greg Ehrenberg here on the NBA Injury Report, sitting alongside Adam Scherer. We're going to be breaking down some of the bigger pieces of injury news that are left to break for the NBA. Of course, we have the Heat news already. We know that Tyler Hero is going to be out there. We know that Luka Doncic is going to be out there. So we're not going to address those situations. The biggie, right off the bat, that we have to deal with is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's out. Khris Middleton is questionable, though, too, which adds another nice little wrinkle to this situation. What are you looking at here from Milwaukee?
Yeah, so the Middleton piece is the big news that we're waiting on. Essentially, you can view this team two ways. Like if Middleton is in, then the starters all look good with Giannis out. They're not priced for Giannis to be out. So you have Holiday, who's averaged 1.22 DraftKings points per minute without Giannis on the floor this year. Middleton's at 1.28. Portis is at 1.17. Connaughton's at 0.82, and Grayson Allen's at 0.72. All of those guys look like solid options, regardless of Khris Middleton's status. The minutes should be there. They all produce an elevated rate. DeMarcus Cousins is out as well, so that even solidifies Bobby Portis' playing time a bit more. Where Middleton makes an impact is if he is also out, then you expect increased production even more so from Holiday, Portis, Connaughton, and Allen. But it also opens the door for some of these bench guys to get more minutes, and it becomes a situation where I don't necessarily know who. I don't know with a ton of confidence who steps up and gets the most minutes. Earlier in the season, when the Bucks were really shorthanded, you saw a lot of Jordan Nwora. He's someone that adds some offensive firepower, certainly someone they could turn to. But then at the same time, recently he's been behind Rodney Hood in the rotation. At times, he's even been behind Javonte Smart. So I don't really know where they would go. Whoever starts in place of Khris Middleton would be the logical spot to assume most of the minutes go to. But someone like Nwora has produced 0.84 DraftKings points per minute. He's someone that, could slide into a bigger role. George Hill is expected back as well. He's 3K flat on DraftKings. Prior to his absence, he was playing 26 minutes or so pretty consistently. He's a potential nice value play as well. He would look even better if Middleton sits too.
Agreed. And the other nice thing is this game locks at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if we don't get that starting lineup for a while, you might be getting some of these guys at a really, really low ownership discount, whoever ends up in that starting rotation, especially because then we have Philadelphia here, 7 p.m. Eastern time. They are at the beginning of lock. We have a massive situation here around Joel Embiid. We got news that George Niang, who played 27 minutes last game, is going to be out here for this health and safety protocol. So another piece that, if Joel Embiid's out, how much Andre Drummond is too much Andre Drummond?
Yeah, if Embiid's out, just get as much Drummond into your lineups as you can. He's not priced for Embiid to be out. For what it's worth, Embiid went through shoot around. I am considering it. Like I think it's likely Embiid plays. He was good to go last game until he wasn't. Like he was in the initial starting lineup. So it kind of just seems like it was like a last minute thing. Today he went through shoot around. My assumption is that he's going to be good to go, but definitely something to keep an eye on. If he sits, it makes Andre Drummond look fantastic, but it also increases production for Tobias Harris. It gives Tyrese Maxey more chances. Niang being out and Korkmaz being questionable means that there's potentially more minutes to go around for a lot of these guys. Seth Curry questionable as well. So it's a situation where you potentially could have a really shorthanded Sixers team. In which case, I think we're getting pretty good at figuring out that you just play everybody from those teams. We've gotten plenty of practice with it recently, as recently as last night. But if it's a situation where like all the questionable guys are in and Embiid's out, then I think it's, you play Drummond, you play Harris, you give some bumps to like Tyrese Maxey. But it really kind of is going to depend on how many of these guys, if any, end up missing.
Yeah, because nothing's better than playing a bunch of Matisse Thybulle and a bunch of Danny Green. I love that feeling. You guys should all love that too. Something you should love, heading over to Yahoo right now. Get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum if you're a new user. If you haven't had a chance to check out Yahoo, lowest management fees for all of their DFS contests, and now you can get a free month alongside of that. There's no better time than now to go play there. You're simply just going to sign up, play in any of those paid contests, and you'll be set to go. Every sport we have behind the paywall, not just NBA, but you're going to want to check out this offer. So thank you so much to Yahoo for their sponsorship here of the NBA Injury Report. Back to the injuries we go. And again, there's just so many. Cleveland, another spot that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. Evan Mobley, probably the runaway favorite at the moment for Rookie of the Year. If he's going to be sitting here in this spot, he's questionable, and it's going to be a game here against Houston that we should have that news ahead of time. How are you kind of looking at the rest of these Cleveland front court players?
Yeah, so I mean, Mobley is really interesting because I actually mentioned him in both my DraftKings and FanDuel tournament plays videos as I think a really strong option here if he's able to go in this matchup against Houston. But if he sits, it opens the door for not necessarily one individual guy to step into a huge role, but I think what it does is it gives Lauri Markkanen more rebounding opportunities. Markkanen only has about an 8% rebounding percentage with Mobley and Allen active this year. I think you would see his rebounding chances go up, potentially a bump in rebounding for Jarrett Allen as well, but also Kevin Love, who essentially is backing up two positions. He's got the ability to play 22, 23 minutes in some games, but then in other games recently, we've seen where he only plays like 14 minutes. If Mobley is out, I think it becomes extremely likely that you get mid 20s minutes from Kevin Love as long as this game is remotely competitive. He's still a good fantasy producer. He's in a phenomenal spot against the Rockets. So basically, if Mobley is in, Love is still playable, Markkanen is still playable, Allen is still playable. If you take Mobley out, I think it makes all three of those guys look better. And then you'd also want to keep an eye on what the starting lineup is. If they were to insert Kevin Love to the starting lineup, then just jam in a bunch of Kevin Love. But you could also get a situation where Cedi Osman slides into the starting lineup. If that were to happen, he becomes a reasonable value. You could get Dean Wade in the starting lineup. If that happens, he's still Dean Wade. He still sucks. He's not that good of a value. But there's the opportunities for like especially if it's Cedi, someone that we know averages around 0.8 fantasy points per minute. If he were to slide into the starting lineup, that would signal that he's likely to play quite a bit more. Even Isaac Okoro at 4,200, like if Mobley is out, there's some chance that you just see an extra like 6 minutes go to Okoro with everybody kind of sliding down a position. That's enough against a Houston team that gives up a ton of blocks and steals to make even somebody like Okoro look like a reasonable option.
Yeah, Coro played tons of minutes here. We have 0.93 fantasy points on DK over the course of the last calendar month or calendar year for Cedi Osman. Kevin Love, though, 1.25 DraftKings points per minute, kind of his baseline rate. If he's in, that's just such a smash. I love that spot. Paid careful attention. And of course, check out the NBA Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock. We'll be keeping you apprised of those lineups. But on the other side of that exact game, Houston, huge situation here with Christian Wood. He's questionable. Eric Gordon already ruled out. How do we kind of analyze this Houston team?
Yeah, this one's really interesting to me because it's a team where there are definitely guys that are going to benefit, just the fact that Eric Gordon is out, but they also just have so many guys that play multiple positions. So last game, we got Armani Brooks in the starting lineup. He only played 21 and a half minutes, but he had left with about 6 minutes to go in the second half, went to the locker room, wasn't expected to return, but then he did come back, play 10 minutes to open the third quarter, and then never came back. But with Eric Gordon out, you should once again get Armani Brooks in the starting lineup, and it's likely that he plays a lot of minutes. The last time Gordon was out, DJ Augustine replaced him in the starting lineup. If that happens, then Augustine at 3,500 is worth a shot. He's not anything you should be too excited about, but he is cheap. There is stuff to pay up for tonight. Christian Wood, though, being questionable, basically, if Wood is in, you could see Daniel Tice start alongside him, essentially with Tice starting in place of Eric Gordon. That would make sense against a big Cleveland front court. You could see them do that. You could also see, where they go with DJ Augustine and everybody slides down a bit. But if Wood is out, then you get Tice basically has to be in the rotation, you would assume. But it also makes it so Şengün can play a lot of minutes. I don't know if Şengün would start, or do they, start Tice at the 5 and then they, still they go like Augustine, Augustine, Brooks, Tate. I'm forgetting somebody, but Matthews. So Augustine, Brooks, Matthews, Tate, Tice. That's something they could do. They could go Brooks, Matthews, Tate, Tice, Şengün if they wanted to. But either way, like even if you get like Tate starting ahead of Şengün, I think there's a good chance that you end up with like a 24-24 split between the two. And Şengün's a very, very good fantasy point per minute guy that at his current price tag, if he gets 24 plus minutes, he's going to look really, really good. But also if Wood is out, it opens the door for KJ Martin, who played 27 minutes off the bench last game. A little bit deceiving because Houston pretty much stuck with their second unit in the fourth quarter. They went on a run. They came back against Atlanta. They got to stay on the floor. Martin had only played about 9 minutes in the first half. So if Wood is in, you don't necessarily just want to look and say, oh yeah, Kenyon Martin's playing 26 minutes. But if he's out, there's tons of minutes available for Kenyon Martin Jr. to pick up. So I think he's someone at basically minimum salary that would start to look pretty good as well.
Yeah, for what it's worth, if Christian Wood's out, Ryan said nearly lock button Şengün. Like that's just
Yeah, I think so.
literally the approach that he's taking. 1.2 fantasy points per minute, and probably the third best league in the entire world is going to be that Turkish league, and he was the MVP of it as a youngling. There is some massive, massive potential there for him, and if he's in the starting lineup, I mean, I doubt that there's a lineup that you could get to, even on an 11 gamer, why I wouldn't prioritize him above all else. All
Yeah,
right,
basically the way I see it, if Wood is out, it's really hard for me to think that Şengün's not playing at least 22 to 24
Mhm.
minutes, and he has the potential for more. He's at 1.2 DraftKings points per minute this year. He is a fantastic offensive player. The only limitations to his NBA game right now are his defense, which from a fantasy standpoint could not care less about.
Could not possibly. And hey, if you don't have Mobley on the other side, that's one less guy to have to worry
Yep.
about. But best of luck guarding Kevin Love or any of those guys. Hey, last situation we have to talk about, and we'll fly through it. Again, it's an 11 gamer with tons of injury news, but this is the other one to really identify. Clippers. Ibaka's already been ruled out. We've got PG-13 and Nicholas Batum questionable. We do have 3 games in that late night hammer, which always makes it a little bit easier to kind of adjust and make your lineups work. But how are you looking at the Clippers in the context of this slate?
This kind of depends what site you're playing on too, I think. On DraftKings, I sort of don't care. If Paul George sits, he's the big piece because he carries so much, he brings so much usage and so much production. When he's not in the lineup, there's a lot to go around. But you've also seen pricing adjust where Terrence Mann is priced up over 5K, Kennard's over 5K, Reggie Jackson's up to 6,800, and they're in a really difficult matchup at Utah. They're 9-point dogs. They have a 104 implied total, and Paul George himself is 10,500. So if he plays, it's not like he's a bad play, but there's other guys in his price range I'd rather get to. So on DraftKings, the short answer is sort of just like, I don't really care. It's a bump to the same guys that's been a bump to before. Like any of Jackson, Morris, Mann, Kennard, Bledsoe look better if George and Batum sit, but they're still not going to end up looking like priorities. On FanDuel, it's a little bit different because instead of being 10,500, Paul George is only $8,900. If he plays, even in a difficult matchup against Utah, that's a really cheap price tag where I would have some interest, especially if he's not going to be that popular because at the start of the slate, we don't know if he's going to play or not. So it's a situation where I would like to get the George, but then if he's out, you still have priced up, Mann's at 5,700, Kennard's at 5,500, Jackson would look okay at 5,900. But it's kind of, I like George on FanDuel if he's in. If he's out, like you said, you do have the Memphis game, you do have the Washington Sacramento game. There's plenty of guys in those games you can swap to, so it's not particularly risky to go to George. But I think really he's the one that I want to play the most if he's able to go.
And late breaking injury news on the injury report. Christian Wood unlikely to play the next 2 games. Do you want to rehash anything from Houston as we get out of here?
Yeah, so still need to keep an eye on the starting lineup, but
Mhm.
one way or the other, I think Şengün's playing at least 24 minutes or so. He looks fantastic, especially with power forward eligibility. So you don't even have to use that center spot. Kenyon Martin Jr. is likely to get some pretty substantial run at 3,600, so he's going to look pretty good. But yeah, keep an eye on the starting lineup because I don't know if will they play Tice alongside Şengün, in which case you can expect even more than 24 minutes. Are they going to go with Augustine, Augustine, Brooks, Matthews, Tate, Tice, in which case that would signal to me that Şengün could still play 26 or 28 minutes, but I think I'd skew a little bit more towards like the 24 minutes. But yeah, like Şengün's going to look good one or the other, just a matter of how good.
Lots of moving parts here on this slate. Make sure you check out that NBA deeper dive here with Adam coming up later in the afternoon and evening here, depending on where you're at. I'm out here on the West Coast, so afternoon for me. And then I'll be on the Live Before Lock show with Greg, breaking down all of the news, and we're going to have a ton of it on an 11 gamer. But I think this was a really, really nice job by Adam breaking everything down for you. He's Adam Scherer. He's the man. I'm Eric Lindquist, just a guy filling in here for Greg Ehrenberg. We'll catch you guys later. See you tomorrow.